Thank you, Bob. Good afternoon to you and to everybody else. It is great to have you here today. This is cutting in and out. It is. Yes. There you go. There we go. Now it's out again. All right. Welcome to the March 10th meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I am President Catherine Staub, and we are delighted to have all of you here today. Carter Smith is going to give us a moment of inspiration, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the four-way test. You too can sign up to give a moment of inspiration. You can do that online or in the lobby. Carter.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Go ahead. Perfect, thank you. For those that don't know, we are currently celebrating Women's History Month. I thought today that we could, one, recognize a great woman in Iowa's history, and then also recognize some of the work of our speaker and Come and Go. For those that maybe have been down here for the last few months at the MC Club, on 7th and Locust, we've got a local Come and Go store. Through some of that work, which I feel is one of the coolest projects I've seen the last couple of years, it's highlighted some of the work of Edna Griffith, local activist and leader in our community in the 20th century. I did not know who Edna Griffith was, but through some of that work, I learned that she was a great activist who was denied service at a local Cass pharmacy back in 1948. Through that experience and through some of the protests and through some of the conversations that she led throughout the 20th century, she was able to eliminate some of the discriminatory practices that occurred in Iowa, which really provided great prosperity and opportunities for folks in our community. I wanted to share a quick quote just to end this conversation that I think would resonate with her, and I still think that is really very applicable to our community here in Iowa today. The quote is by Martin Luther King Jr. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects us all indirectly. Thanks. We'll now do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the four-way test.
Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Now please greet your neighbor with some waves.
Did you really? Oh, all right, Sadie, go. Oh yeah, she just loved that first little session in lunch Tuesday. Yeah, thanks so much.
We have 3 guests to welcome today, so if, as I call your name, guests would please stand first, and then their full names and place of business are on the PowerPoint. Eric is a guest of Paul Kerpitz. Eric, welcome.
Thank you.
Emma is a guest of Cherian Koshi. Welcome, Emma. And Stephen is a guest of Jim Vickery. Welcome, Stephen. And next we have a new member introduction. Martha, if you would stand. We have Martha LeBron Dykeman, who we're introducing today, and I'm already fangirling her and completely in awe, and you'll see why about halfway through this. You've got a free day. What would we find you doing? And she says, on a free day, you can find me learning something new. Love it. Where in the world have you traveled and can't wait to go back to? I have traveled to New Zealand and can't wait to get back there. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? Never give up. And you'll see how that connects to this next one, and this is why I'm fangirling and totally in awe. What talent or skill do you possess that might surprise or delight people? She is an Ironman. She has done multiple Ironmans, and she is on her way to doing one on every single continent where they offer an Ironman. Besides that, she's also played softball for the Puerto Rican national team, which is also really awesome. I'm just not a softball player, so, but anyway. And then finally, you are joining Rotary. What can't you wait to tell your friends about our organization? I can't wait to tell them about our global outreach. So, welcome, Martha, officially. We are delighted to have you. A huge thank you to Kathleen Jones for sponsoring today's table flyers, which support our Rotary Club of Des Moines Foundation. So if you haven't already, take a look at the table flyer in the center of your table. It's neatly folded, so make sure you pass those around. If you or if your company or organization would like to sponsor a table flyer, it's a $50 donation to the Rotary Club of Des Moines Foundation, and you need to see Kitty in advance for details and also to schedule your flyer. 2022 marks the 200th birthday anniversary of Frederick Law Olmsted, father of landscape architecture and social visionary of the parks movement in the 1800s. March 26th through April 1st has been proclaimed as Olmsted 200 Week in the city of Des Moines by Mayor Frank County. The flyer, sponsored by Kathleen Jones, has details of all of the activities going on around this week. All activities are free and open to the public, but require registration as seating is limited at some events. So I encourage you to take a look at all of the wonderful events going on for that week and sign up for whatever you are able to attend. Also on your table is a sign-up sheet. So mark your calendars for Friday, March 25th from 3 until 4:30 p.m. for a Wheels Fellowship. They are once again going to visit the Alba collection in Ankeny. The Alba has a COVID coordinator who is limiting our attendance to 35 people, and everybody who is attending is required to wear a mask. And this is an absolute must from the Alba COVID coordinator. So you can register directly with Randy Worth, our Wheels Fellowship leader. There's also going to be a link in next week's newsletter with Randy's email address. Because that COVID coordinator is capping our attendance at 35, Randy would ask that you please wait before inviting any guests. We want to give our Rotarians first opportunity to fill those 35 slots. If after a period of appropriate wait time there are still slots available, we will let you know that, and then if you are interested, you may invite a guest. But at this point, Rotarians only. I will say that the first visit was an extreme success and had 50 people attending. So if this interests you, I would make sure you reach out to Randy right away. And it is a great opportunity to see one of the premier car collections in the country, if that is of interest to you. All right, and with that, Tim Lilowitz is our program committee chair and is going to introduce today's program. Tim?
Appreciate the resounding applause. Thank you, President Catherine. Good afternoon. We are excited to have Tanner Kraus, the CEO of Come and Go, with us today. I'll make my introduction a little longer since I'll allow him to finish eating his lunch since he got here a little bit late. I believe we heard from Tanner's dad, Kyle, a few years ago when Come and Go was building their downtown facility. And that presentation was geared more toward the actual facility, but today we get to hear from Tanner about all the good things going on at Come and Go. Come and Go is a convenience retail chain with over 400 stores across 11 states, headquartered, of course, here in Des Moines. Tanner is the fourth generation to lead in the family business, and his work experience at Come and Go dates back more than 20 years. Tanner has held a series of leadership roles across the operations, human resources, and marketing departments. In June of 2018, he was named president, and in January of 2021, he succeeded his father Kyle as CEO. Throughout his tenure, Tanner's passion and commitment has always been to improve the lives and livelihoods of Come and Go's 5,000 associates. Tanner also provides strategic direction and support to several other businesses in the Kraus Group portfolio. A little bit about his background. Tanner received 2 bachelor's in business administration degrees from Loyola University in Chicago in 2010 in finance and in economics. Additionally, Tanner is a member of the most successful graduating class in Loyola Ramblers men's soccer history, which maybe we'll hear about today. In 2016, he graduated with a master's in business administration from DePaul University, concentrating in business strategy. Tanner and his wife, Hannah, live here in Des Moines, and the two share a passion for community betterment. Tanner is an executive board member of the Boys and Girls Club of Central Iowa and chairs the DSM for Equity Collective. Hannah is a board member of the Food Bank of Iowa, and together the couple have 2 young children. So hopefully I'm allowed him to finish his lunch. Please join me in welcoming Tanner to the podium.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for the lovely introduction, Tim, and the chance to speak, Catherine. I tend to like to be in groups where I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I think that's very safe to say with this group. It's an honor to be in front of you, and it's always a little flattering and sometimes confusing when you get requests like this to speak. Honestly, I feel like I should be the one listening, and I could learn a lot more by hearing you all speak. So I'll do my best to entertain for the time allotted. And maybe one day you'll invite me back, or potentially even one of my children. I'll tell a little bit about my personal story and what's going on at Come and Go, and a little bit about what's going on at Krause Group, as that's what I understand to be the direction. I also welcome Q&A, and at any moment of the 25, 30 minutes or so that we've got together, be comfortable to raise your hand and ask a question. I'm happy to go off script. I have no script, and you can take this really any direction you want. After all, this is your meeting, and you've invited me here for your own pleasure. So thanks again, and the food was lovely. Great job with the introduction, Tim. It's almost like we wrote that. I'm honored to have the role that I play with our family business. Come and Go has been around for 62 years, and ever since a very young age, I knew I wanted to do this. And it's a real privilege to be able to have that type of focus and direction as I've worked through life. And I've been able to, in a very, sometimes roundabout way, create a lot of opportunity for myself and do a lot of things that have made me into what I believe to be a well-rounded CEO. I never thought it would be happening this fast. In my wildest dreams, I wouldn't have guessed as a 33-year-old I would get the keys to the boat. But I was blessed to have a strong team around me and a father who believes in me and has supported me and mentored me every step of the way. It's hard to get 20 years of experience in your early 30s, but that's the benefit of working for a family business. I started when I was 9 years old, and that was the family age. I wanted to start sooner. I tried to negotiate with my dad an earlier start date. My older brother Ryan started when he was 9, which was fall of his 3rd grade. I was a young grade, and so it would have been June after my 3rd grade, and so I went to Dad in October of my 3rd grade as an 83-month-old and said, Dad, I think I should be able to start working in stores. After all, this was the moment in time when Ryan got to work in stores. And he said, are you 9? I said, no. And he goes, then you can't start. And I said, okay. And I waited, and we've had a relationship where I've been in a friendly and sometimes logical way, trying to push for more responsibility as I think that I can support him with what he's doing. And certainly with the expansion of our business interests outside of Come and Go, we accelerated a lot of the transitions. And as you're all probably aware, we have invested heavily outside of our core business, particularly in the last 5 or 6 years. In addition to Come and Go, Krause Group operates in total 11 different companies. We have interest in Italy and in America. In Italy, we have 2 different wineries and a 5-star resort, all located in the Barolo wine region of Piedmont, Italy, in the northwest of the country. We also have some real estate work that we're doing in that part of the country. And then most publicly in last fall, we bought into the Italian soccer world, and we are owners of the proud city of Parma in Emilia-Romagna of central Italy. And we now are in the world of professional sports ownership on a global stage. It's quite, even, I don't know what the right expression is, maybe surprising as even I rattle off some of those things. It surprises me that we've gone there, but If I've learned anything about my old man, it's never to doubt him, as he can accomplish pretty much anything he puts his mind to. And as makes more local press, we're trying to continue to develop and improve our community here in Des Moines. As you're hopefully aware, we've got a large project underway to convert the Dyko site into a destination for Central Iowa and beyond, which will be anchored by a professional soccer stadium and team that we are under contract with the USL Championship to bring to Des Moines. It's a fully professional league that is all nationally televised games and will be with the likes of Phoenix, Indianapolis, Las Vegas, and Cincinnati, and major cities across the country. So really excited about that. We are working on closing the capital stack. I won't ask you all to donate, but that opportunity still exists. Anyways, if you are going to donate because of what I said today, I'd rather go to the Boys and Girls Club of Central Iowa or the Food Bank of Iowa, as those beneficiaries are in more need than the Krause family. So I'm really happy that that part made it to the story. I'm also very proud of my wife. I need to update her bio. 18 months ago, she became a business owner. And so she bought into a business in the East Village that's been around for 17 years called Eden. It's a self-care store and an apothecary, and if she could grow Come and Go the way she's grown Eden, I would be out of a job. She's done a fantastic job taking over a mature business and putting life into it, and it's really fun to see all that she can do. You mentioned that this is Women's History Month, and we had International Women's Day on Tuesday, and she did something really special in which she gave all women an 18% discount to her store to accommodate for the gender pay gap, as women are at 82 cents on the dollar for every dollar that a man makes. And so she does a really fantastic job running a small business, and she is my anchor and my partner, and I'm very proud of what she does. Together we also have 2 young children. Our daughter Simone is 3.5, and she's the sweetest, smartest, fieriest 3.5-year-old I've ever met. And then our little boy Arthur is 6 months old, and he's a real treat. And so we've got a lot going on in our world, and I'm just very happy that I've got the support of my family, both my dad, my mom, my brothers, as well as my wife and my children. And really what drives me is to leave an impact in the community, leave an impact in the world, and to truly use what I've been given to make the world a better place, not just for myself, but for those that are in need, those that are in greater need. And what attracts me to Come and Go is a lot of things. Certainly, the legacy element of what we do is motivating to me. As a young man and really as a boy, I looked up to my dad. I looked up to my grandpa, and I even had 18 years on this earth with my great-grandfather, which is special. And I thought they were just the coolest people in the world, and I wanted to be like them. And here I am, some version of in their shoes, and it's emotional even to talk about it because family's the number one thing in life. And so I hope to make them proud, and I view what I do as I'm a steward. We're a 4th generation family business, and this isn't about Tanner. This is about the family, not only my family, but the families that we employ. And it's my responsibility to take the baton from my dad and to hand it to some next generation of our family in a better shape than how I got it. And what we will face under my leadership of this company is what I believe to be truly existential threats to our business. When Simone is my age, 30 years from now, cars won't be powered by gasoline or diesel fuel. We know that much. We don't know exactly the rate of adoption, but we know that automobiles will shift forever, and we don't think that Come and Go will be a destination for electric charging or other sources of fuel or energy to the extent that we are today. And so we have to build a business that is not at all dependent on fuel. Today, if you were to take away our fuel margin, we would not be a profitable company. We are extremely dependent on the sale of gasoline. And so we've got some really big holes to climb out of on our P&L where we need to grow margin without leveraging our fuel revenue. And so we've got, fortunately, I think about 20 years or so to get us there. But if we don't get us there, at some point we'll wake up one day and we'll be the next brick and mortar retailer to have been a story versus writing our own. And that's only on the outside of our business. You know, on the inside of our business, we're a food and beverage retailer. We're in the immediate consumption business. How we shop is evolving. It's no secret. Certainly with COVID and the pandemic, we have accelerated a lot of digital adoption. And I'm sure many of the people in this room never thought about buying their groceries online before March of 2019. And now I'm going to guess that a lot of you still hold on to that practice and don't plan on returning to your full in-store experiences. Well, that affects us in a number of ways. And we have to prepare for what is the next generation of immediate consumption retail. You know, our advantage today is that we've got stores that are easy to get in and out of, and they're small. Thus, we facilitate a quick visit. People that are prioritizing convenience choose our industry. With the advent of apps and delivery drivers, your location of your store and the size of your store are far less important to the customer's definition of what convenience looks like than what they are today. And so without our biggest competitive advantage, how do we show up as a convenient place to shop, and what's our right to win in a food and beverage landscape where a dominant share of that market is done via app ordering and couriers and deliveries. And so we've got some real things to figure out. We've got time and we've got good people, but we're very much focused on innovation, and we're very much focused on change. And you mentioned our walk-up store downtown Des Moines. You know, that is something new for us. We have 5 of them across the country. They're in test mode. They are explicitly, there's no fuel, right? There are no pumps. And so if we can make retail like that work, then we've got a chance that we can scale a different model of our company in a way that, again, has zero fuel dependency. I'll say that the COVID pandemic did no favors to retail in the brick and mortar sense, particularly located in central business districts, entertainment districts, or college towns. So we still haven't gotten a clear picture on what the prospects of that model look like, but at the very least we've learned a lot. We're continuing to test and learn as we have to, because we know that the status quo won't get us to our version of success, which again is that Simone can take over Come and Go in a healthier place than I have. And so we're continuing to try and continuing to innovate, and you will see a lot of change come and Go's near you over the course of the next 6 months. We have developed a new brand identity, a new brand expression, and we have revamped our supply chain to allow for healthier choices on the package side of what we do. And we've completely reinvented our food program to be more interesting to a different type of customer. We identify an opportunity in the market to make it easier to shop healthy. We know that when people are in a hurry, their options are limited, and you don't often feel good about what you've consumed when you're tight for time. We know that people choose us when they're tight for time, and we know that people feel this way about their options that either we sell or other competitors in fast food and convenience retail offer. So we are developing a menu for our food and different assortments for our package side of our business in order to help you make better choices when you're tight on time. So we will be introducing a heavily new assortment, both on dispensed beverage, packaged goods, packaged beverage, and prepared and fresh foods. And so we're very excited to bring this to Des Moines. We've been testing certain renditions of this in a couple stores locally, very under the radar, and we've taken it to some version of scale in Omaha and Little Rock to test out operational kinks before we bring in what we think is really more of the big picture and a more finished product to Des Moines. As is the spirit with the way we run the company, we're still going to be in test and learn phase. We get a lot of feedback, and as we scale this initiative to our next market in 2023, we will of course optimize and make changes. We just don't know exactly which part of the program will be changing. That's where the customer comes in, and they tell us what they like and what they don't like. So there is a lot going on in the world of Come and Go, and you know, I'm certainly motivated to perpetuate this. You know, I'm 4 generations, and I'm way too competitive to be the Kraus that this thing you know, goes under on my watch. And so I literally give everything I have to the success of Come and Go and to our people. Maybe not everything. I prioritize my wife and my kids first, and then I give what I have left. When you have a 6-month-year-old, sometimes your capacity is diminished. He does still like to wake up and remind us that he's there over the middle of the night. And so we are greeted with some Arthur visits around 2 and 4 a.m. most nights. But that's the life of a young parent. And I'm just blessed to have Hannah, who carries most of that burden and responsibility, and also still manages to run her own company every single day. So we're blessed there. And I'll speak on another motivation, as I talked about earlier. Motivated to make the world a better place. And the impact that we can have with a company like Come and Go is grand. I'm fortunate to inherit a business that's got a very strong philanthropic component built into it. Come and Go donates 10% of its pre-tax net income to charitable causes every single year. 10% is a lot of money when you're our size, and so we have a huge impact, a huge opportunity to create impact with the check writing that we do. And I'm proud to be able to now have some direction and influence to where that's going. And a big part of what we're doing now is around food insecurity. And we donated more than 3 million pounds of food to food shelters in 2021. And we're doing our part to help make the community better where we operate. And that goes on top of the checks that we write here locally, big supporters of United Way, Habitat for Humanity, and many of your local favorite charities. That's on the check writing side. That's almost on the kind of the P&L side of what we do. We employ 5,000 people, and when you touch 500,000 people every single day, you also have a chance to make a big impact by how you show up and how you operate your company. And I think this is the chance to even have a bigger impact, bigger beyond the millions that we donate every single year. We employ, as I said, 5,000 people at the store level, and that's a lot of people, as well as I know that there's a lot more people out there. And what motivates our team is that we know if we can take an action, at the very least, we can improve lives for 5,000 people. We know that much, we have that much span of control. But what's also exciting is that we can then influence retailers and the market for labor in a way that we can hopefully start to standardize more benefits and then accelerate our impact beyond our 4 walls and beyond our 400 stores and into the companies that we talk about and we compete with for labor every single day. And so we've done a number of things in the last 5 years I'm really proud of. I'm proud of the progress, and I'm also very motivated to keep going. I've got some fairly simple beliefs around how people should be treated, the opportunities that they should have. And unfortunately, these aren't normal occurrences for a lot of people in our country, right here in our city as well. You mentioned the story of Edna Griffin, and I'm glad that you tied in her story. Iowa was ahead of the curve when it came to civil rights and when it came to the rights of blacks and African Americans, and I'm really proud of that. Iowa today is regarded as one of the worst places to live for a black and African American person. I didn't know this until I started working more in the community. If you're interested in seeing the data behind this, the One Economy report of 2019 evaluated what life is like for the black population in Des Moines and compared it to the white population. And the disparities are shocking and stunning. And it motivated me to get involved. And so Terry Caldwell-Johnson called me one day and invited me to participate as a co-chair on a racial equity task force in Des Moines. And I learned more about it, and I learned that I feel an obligation as a person of privilege, as a person with a platform, as a person with wealth and influence, to put all of that behind causes to promote equality. And we still have a long ways to go, and we will be starting to produce content to assist all of you in your organizations so that we can together collaborate and to help people right here in our backyard that have a pretty tough situation and a pretty tough life. And with Come and Go, there are just a few kind of basic principles that we are striving for but we've not yet achieved as to how we treat our associates. The first and the most important to me is, I believe in paying a living wage. I believe that you should be able to work a 40-hour work week and have enough money at the end of every month to put a little in your savings account. According to data from the MIT, who does a living wage calculator, to support yourself right now, you need to make probably $16 an hour in Des Moines. They've done a really it's a very intensive methodology. If you want to Google living wage calculator by MIT, there's some good data, you can go research it. Come and Go doesn't pay $16 an hour in Des Moines. I take no pride in that statement. Most people at the hourly level of food service, retail, or hospitality are not paying that level. And so what happens is people are forced to work 55, 60 hours a week in order just to make their ends meet. And that's tough. That's a tough life. And in a country where we've got more wealth than anyone in the world, in a city where my family's able to do wonderful things like buy soccer teams and build stadiums and build offices, we've got an imbalance that I think needs correcting. And the good news is that there are companies like us that have a lot of power in the state, and companies like yours. And I'm doing what I can to accelerate wage growth at our company so that we can offer people a more dignified life. Because I've seen it up close. I've visited the apartments and homes of the people that work in Come and Go stores, and the disparity in lifestyle is unnerving and unfortunate and unfair. And I'm trying to use my position as the CEO of a large company to control what I can control and help the quality of life for those that are within our building. But also, when invited to have an opportunity to speak to a group like this, use my platform to hopefully motivate you all to look at things like this differently. And I don't mean to say that the practices of your organization are anything but exquisite. I don't know how you operate. But I know that life out there for many people is not exquisite. And that people like us in this room can do things to help others that need help. And so, I don't know if I'll get invited back, I don't know if I'll get a round of applause, but I do come up here and I say that we can come together as a community and we can solve problems for other people that need help. And so I'm motivated to... I guess it was the round of applause. All right, thank you. That's a big part of why I'm in this role. You know, this role is extremely stressful, it's lonely, there come a lot of rewards with it, but at the end of the day, I feel like I can help others, and I feel like we can do something for people that need it. And so, I don't know where I'm at on time. How am I doing?
You're good.
We're good on time, all right. And so, I appreciate all that, and we're doing a lot of fun things. You know, we're in 11 states today. Story in the Register came out yesterday. We're going to open 3 more states up the next 12 months. Come and Go's got a good thing going. You know, let's just be honest. People like what we do. I appreciate that. It's 62 years of hard work and betterment that have gotten us to this point. And where we open Come and Go's, they're successful. They're successful because we're able to attract quality people, and our business practices allow us to deliver a good customer experience. And we feel that if we continue to take that model, that Come and Go store, to more communities, we can help both the labor market and the customer market. And you know, you'd be hard-pressed to find a retailer anywhere in the country that uses more renewable energy sources for their gasoline and for their diesel than Come and Go does. We are well into double digits in terms of the blend of biodiesel and ethanol into all the gallons that we sell. And so by shopping Come and Go, you're supporting not only the Iowa economy, your farmers and your farm prices, but as well as reducing greenhouse gas emissions and helping prepare for a new generation of talent. You know, we've been able to attract talented people for a long time, mostly because we've got a culture of putting people first. And that's the number one thing I talk to when I talk about our store associates out on store tours, is to say, you know, why do you work here? And it's like, well, I was at Sonic and my manager was terrible, or he was racist, or they just didn't treat people well, and you all care about people. And you can't really put a price on that. It's those intangible cultural things. But ultimately, that's how you last for 62 years. It's by caring for your people and showing them that, you know, we're nothing without those that work in the store. And so, as I continue to gain power and influence and Come and Go, you know, I always go back to how do we improve the quality of life for those in our stores. You know, these are people that have had to or chosen to, you know, work the front lines during a COVID pandemic, have been assaulted for company policies around masks and other things that people haven't agreed with, have been robbed at gunpoint because people want the cash in their drawer, have to clean toilets for a living, have to stock coolers for a living, change garbage cans for a living, and it doesn't matter if it's 110 degrees in Jonesboro or it's negative 10 degrees in North Dakota, every single day we've got to do those tasks. And we owe it to them to have 2 days off. We owe it to them to have a predictable schedule and a predictable income. We owe it to them to have access to health insurance. And not all of those things are normal in retail. And we've lost track of where the value is created. We've lost track of what people deserve. And if you go back to post-World War II America, the foundation of the American economy was manufacturing. And we treated those jobs as, we thought of them as skilled labor, and it is skilled labor. Most manufacturing has been offshore, and most of the American economy today is a service industry. And we treat these jobs as unskilled labor, and that we don't have to invest in them. The workers of the post-World War II boom in the American economy had living wages, had pensions, had health insurance. The majority of the workforce today does not have those things. We treat these people as unskilled labor. I promise you, upselling is a skill. Customer de-escalation is a skill. Service recovery is a skill. And for too long, we've treated this as disposable labor and a commodity. And we're trying at Come and Go to get back to taking the backbone of the American economy, which is today service employees, and to treating them with the respect that they deserve and giving them a life that dignifies what they contribute to the industry. At this point, I'll take any questions. Yes, sir.
You know the percentage of services and supplies that you buy from Iowa companies?
The question was the percentage of services that we buy from Iowa companies. It's a really good question. I don't know it in percentage terms. Most of what we buy are by national or international conglomerates. We have done a better job around supply chain responsibility in the last 2 years. We have a CMO named Tracy Ging who's come in, and she's got a lot of passion for supply chain. And so in our new food rollout, we are introducing Black and Bold Coffee into our stores, and so that's a Des Moines-based Black-owned coffee company. We've also got Thelma's ice cream sandwiches in the freezer. There's a couple other stories like that where we're highlighting Iowa companies. But we've sold Twin Bings my whole life, so it's the city of the house. So I don't have a percentage here. I'm sorry, Bob. Yeah, Ashley.
Hi, Tanner. I have had the privilege of knowing your wife for a number of years, so thank you for giving her the accolades that I think she deserves. She's wonderful. And I'd love to extend an offer, an invitation for you to join our club, because we'd love to have members like you be a part of this organization. I've been really moved by your speech today, and I'd like to know a little bit more about your involvement with your location of stores in proximity to food deserts, and more about food insecurity and how you're addressing that, because you touched on it a little bit, but I think it's such an important topic.
Thank you, Ashley. It's very kind of you. And your question was around how we focus on food deserts and food insecurity. At the risk of sharing some industry secrets, I'll just be honest with this club. I was in Michigan last week, and we've announced publicly that we're going into Grand Rapids, Michigan as one of our next new markets. Grand Rapids is a city a lot like Des Moines, and a city that doesn't have as strong of C-store competition, and I think we can do really well there. As companies like Come and Go have tried to plan their growth, there's a lot of factors that we all tend to prioritize in selecting markets. Population growth, wage growth, household income, employment levels, and unfortunately, by using a lot of these same criteria, you tend to carve out the people that need services the greatest. And there is an opportunity. I believe that come and go in a community makes for a stronger community. And I spent the last 3 days of last week driving through the inner city of Detroit and Flint and the suburbs of Detroit and Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, Bay City, Saginaw, and the eastern part of Michigan. And we were driving through areas that do not get commercial investment to the scale that we're considering. And I feel like not only can we write checks to the Boys and Girls Club and support low-income youth, we can show up physically, literally show up into communities like 8 Mile in Detroit and put a Come and Go there and instantly create 10 full-time jobs that are on their way to paying a living wage, that have access to health insurance, with predictable income, and a safe and positive, inclusive culture. And we're looking at growing differently, and we're looking at the power of the presence of Come and Go and what we can do for communities. And we're very consciously trying to focus on areas of the country that have long been eliminated by our search criteria or other company search criteria.
All right, we unfortunately are out of time.
Sorry, I'm a rambler.
Just a minute to Springfield, Missouri. Tell them where you're on the historic corner. And that was a responsibility that you got to take advantage of.
The historic, we're on almost every corner in Springfield, Missouri.
But you are on the historic corner. You had the option of saving Route 66 and save that curve was a part of the preservation and your building responsibility. And you saved the only corner of Route 66 that's left in my hometown of Springfield, Missouri, where Route 66 started in 1926. Do you know where that corner
I
is?
do. Elaine, I remember this actually, and I thought maybe you were going there when you made your comment, and I appreciate that. Yes, we did pivot our site plan to allow for the preservation of the original Route 66. If you want to contact me, it's tanner.kraus@comeandgo.com. I appreciate the company, I appreciate the response, the round of applause and everything. I appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanner, both for your presentation today, but also the work that you are leading. We are donating a book in your honor through our Rotary Rosie Reader Van through the Des Moines Public Library Foundation. Last year, our Rotary Club of Des Moines Foundation donated $40,000 to purchase this van through our community grant program. Upcoming meetings will be on the slide there in a moment. Please think, like we had 3 guests here today, we had 4 or 5 last week, so as you see the names of the upcoming programs, please think about who would be interested in that, who would be a great new member of our Rotary Club, and please invite them to join us. Remember, however, that you and your guests must be registered by 9 a.m. on Wednesdays. The world is still in a reservation-only status, so that is key to us running smoothly and effectively and continuing to be welcome here. On the 17th, no meeting because it is spring break, and it's not just because I'll be skiing. But it is because we've tracked numbers and we want to have a wonderful welcoming crowd for each one of our speakers. On the 24th, we will be back here. Ted Corrigan, Regional Waterworks. March 31st, Melissa O'Neill, Central Iowa Shelter and Services, Aquaculture and Greenhouse Project. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for being a Rotary Club of Des Moines member. Thank you to our guests, Eric, Emma, and Stephen, for being here today. We hope that we see you frequently, maybe permanently. That would be wonderful. Martha, welcome officially. And don't forget, it's daylight savings time this weekend, so spring forward 1 hour. We are adjourned, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
Good chat, man. Take care. See you.
I just want to say thank you to you real quick, and then I'll let you.
Thank you. Happy to.